Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Meet Your Fellow Rotarians. Today, we have a total mover and shaker from our local ecosystem here. Yes, ecosystem. He is a mover and shaker within the entire ecosystem of Fort Lauderdale. Not only has he been a member of our club since 2011, he is also the executive vice president, right? Of the Los Olas company, which is they're a huge company that's completely just revolutionized downtown Fort Lauderdale, made it into this gorgeous hotspot that we have like international tourists pouring in to this tourist attraction that Heiko's one of the invisible hands behind the scenes with it, or maybe not so invisible. He is also the chairman of Career Source Broward, which is an absolute incredible organization. Hopefully he'll tell us a little bit about it today. And he is the general manager of Riverside Hotel, which is hands down one of our favorite places to eat. They have a lot of fun, very interesting themed restaurants in there. So you don't get tired of going to one place because there's all these different, unique, different themed restaurants within his domain. Heiko, thank you so much for joining us today.
Adi, thank you so much for inviting me, and congratulations on the podcast. I really enjoyed the interview you had with your dad. What a gem of a leader, and you are third generation, and I'm thrilled that you're nudging your kids already to become Rotarians. So that is fantastic. And fellow Rotarians, welcome to our podcast. Hopefully I can bring a little bit of light to our conversation and maybe tell my story. I let Adi just go ahead and rip some questions. I guess she has some prepared. I'm not sure yet. I'm actually a little worried about it because you never know what you're going to get with Adi.
It's only 4 questions. This is not the full interrogation that I usually do. Just 4 questions. Who are and what is your profession? I know I already kind of touched upon it, but there's so many things that you're involved in everywhere.
Yeah, you know, maybe I just give a little background from where I'm from and who I am, and then go into the professional aspect, and then maybe in the servant leader aspect of my career. So my name is Heiko Dobrikow. I was born and raised in Germany. I grew up in a small little village in Ziba. Ziba is in the Harz Mountains. We had a population of 603 people. And interesting enough, when I grew up in Ziba, I was part of a folklore club that had also a service element to it. Unbeknownst to me, nobody ever talked about that there was also service involved in this particular club. We just thought we were singing and raising money, and then sometimes on a Saturday or Sunday we had certain community projects. But it was interesting how that kind of molded me over the years, right? I then migrated to the United States at the age of 17, and I just wanted to be an exchange student. You know, I went to Washburn Rural High School, graduated from there, fell in love with America and fell in love with Kansas. And I really never wanted to leave Kansas. The nicest people ever, down-to-earth, hardworking Americans that just are extremely truthful. And it reminded me of my village because everybody was straightforward, truthful, and telling you what they really were thinking, right? And so, again, another element that formed me towards Rotary, right? Because it is about the truth that we're telling each other. And I then went to the University of Kansas and wanted to become a sports psychologist for tennis players. While I was working there, I kind of dabbled in some hospitality type of work and fell in love with the industry. And kind of fast forward, after I graduated, I went to Florida, started working in Panama City Beach, Florida, at Marriott's Bay Point Resort Village. And that's where I met my mentor. And he was a Vietnam vet for the Air Force. And he was explaining to me a terminology that I've heard in college, servant leadership. right? And the first time I heard the terminology was in Religion 104 in college in my freshman year. And then later on, I heard the word servant leadership in a corporate environment in my statistical class, my business class in stats in college. And so when he talked about this, his name was Bob Mercer, and may he rest in peace. He's been in heaven for 2 years, who is also a Rotarian, by the way. He built a flat company structure where everybody in the company is on the same level. It was no hierarchy. He was not above everybody. And one of the things that he's always said to us as the young leaders, as we're coming in, you lead others by serving them first. And when I heard that, it kind of resonated with me, you know, and I felt like, wow, that is pretty awesome, right? You are here to just invest in others and really build them up from there. And going now fast forward, about 10 hotels thereafter, I ended up at the Riverside Hotel in Panama City, in Fort Lauderdale, not Panama City, in Fort Lauderdale. And it's a family-owned and operated hotel, still run by the same family that built it in 1936, and the Las Olas Company was founded in 1935. And that's very, very rare. And the DNA of the family that runs the Las Olas Company at the Riverside Hotel is truly all about giving back to the community. It was a philanthropic approach of running a business. And it mesmerized me. And I was fortunate enough over my years in the hospitality industry, always working for family-owned and operated companies. And I dabbled a couple of times in the corporate environment, but mostly I was reporting directly to family members in other hotels as well. And that really helped me develop this kind of style that I have as a leader. Every community that I ever went into, I got involved in, and it was very important for me to do so. And so that's kind of who I am, and that's kind of my DNA in the hospitality industry. But also, it was interesting how small little seeds throughout my upbringing were planted for me to have a service mind, and it molded me.
Yeah, very interesting. It's very, very unique experience, unlike a lot of the other guests that I've had on far. So thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. How do you use your professional knowledge in service projects locally and globally with Rotary?
That's a profound question, as a matter of fact, and it's one probably that is not easy to be answered unless you have a strategy, right? And Adi, for me and fellow Rotarians, I'm fortunate enough that I work in the hospitality industry, so service is in my blood. Whether I like it or not, it's just in my blood. I'm truly passionate about service, right? Whether it's servicing my team members to be great, whether it's servicing the customers to have a good experience, or whether it's servicing the community. And so what I tell many of the younger leaders, and I even say that to Rotarians, what is your strategy to conquer the community? And you get various answers. And I a lot of times talk about the 4 silos. I say, like, you need to divide your strategy into 4 silos. And a lot of times I get the question, so how do I do this? I said, first, as a business person, right? Because we Rotarians are business people. We were founded by business people. We were founded by business people with a philanthropic vision in order to grow our communities and our world into a better place, right? So number one is you need to rub elbows with the existing business community. And a lot of times for me, it was the chambers of commerce, wherever I went, right, and build the relationships. And I was fortunate enough here in Fort Lauderdale to be the chairman of the board for the Chamber of Commerce and oversaw about 26 different councils while I was chairman. And it was phenomenal, right? The second silo that I always tell folks that are in the business community, if you want to help new businesses coming into the marketplace, then you should be aligned with the economic development boards. In our case here in Broward County, it's the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. In Miami, it was the Beacon Council. In Palm Beach, it was the Economic Development Board, right, of Palm Beach. And you roll out that red carpet to those new companies that are coming into your marketplace, right, and really help them out. And I think everybody in the business has a trade, right? And that would be the third silo. And mine is hospitality, right? Early on, I joined hospitality associations. Current one that I'm part of is the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. It's a statewide organization. It was important for me to give back to my industry, my trade, and rub elbows with the folks that are in my trade. The last silo to the equation how to conquer a community is what nonprofit are you going to align yourself with, right? And that was not always easy for me to understand who I'm going to align myself, because there are so many worthy causes out there, right? And so in my hotel here at the Riverside, we had the Rotary Luncheon every Wednesday, 12:15, you know, clockwork. And I was not a Rotarian, and I was a fly on the wall, because what I enjoyed about the Rotary Luncheons is they brought some amazing guest speakers in that educated you, right? So I went like, wow, here's an organization that actually invests in massaging your brain with new information that you didn't know before. And I went like, this is just amazing. And so eventually I kind of stepped up and said, you know what, I want to be kind of part of this group of people, because when I looked inside the room, it was movers and shakers. These were folks that were very influential. In some cases, it was a city manager. In other cases, it was a commissioner. Otherwise, it was a Fortune 500 CEO. It was truly folks that all seemed to row in the same direction for the same purpose. And so then once I got on board, you know, I kind of realized that you have to roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, and really make things happen. And I started small, right? George Hushka, who is working for the city of Fort Lauderdale, had this crazy idea, the power of an hour. And it was one of the first service projects that I got involved locally, right? Here's just give me an hour, and in 1 hour on a Saturday morning, I put you to work. And we just transform a building, we landscape something, we take care of something in the community. And suddenly you saw the fruits of your labor. You know, the next thing that I really liked was the aspect of adopting a street. So just west of us, of the hotel, there is a street that was adopted by the Rotary Club, and we went into that and maintained the street and picked up trash and weeded things out, made things good. You know, we are in the season of giving, Adi, and so what better things in just getting children's toys out there, and we're doing it online and with Amazon, and what a great way where you actually don't have to do that much other than go on Amazon.com and purchase, and then be part of a group in order to put the toys together and sort them out and have them delivered and that sort of thing. Or we just got off Thanksgiving, right? The Thanksgiving baskets that this Rotary Club is doing. And needless to say, we also had a special group for a long time, which was the turkey flights, where we actually flew hundreds of turkeys for Thanksgiving to needy families, which was an amazing experience. We are in Florida, Adi, so we have actually hurricanes. And it devastates communities, right? And it's just a question of time when it's going to devastate our community. But our Rotary Club has always stepped up in order to really help out in the time of catastrophe, right? Whether it was the Keys or whether it was over on the west coast of Florida, what have you, in helping out. Hurricane Katrina was another one. And so one of the things that was always important to me was scholarships, because I believe the #1 economic driver in any community is education. And if you don't invest in education, you're probably missing the mark, right? And so this club in particular made it a priority through the annual raffle program to focus on student scholarships, right? And every year we give away student scholarships. I think roughly about maybe $75,000 worth of student scholarships. I might be off with my numbers because it's so overwhelming for me to see how many student scholarships we give away every year, right? And I think that is very powerful, which our club always participated from a global standpoint, which I also enjoyed because I am kind of a product of this. I was an exchange student. So the Rotary exchange program is just very robust. And getting these kids from other countries to stay here in the United States in our Rotary families and then having a great experience is important. While I'm on the subject of global, what I liked about our club was really the different grants that we tapping in and getting the various matches, 1 to 3 matches, right? What have you. And our club early on participated in the early childhood development grant. I think it was for South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And I might be a little bit wrong there, but it's a fund really to foster education and training globally elsewhere, right? I love the fact of us participating, and I know this was in South Africa, in the sanitation projects, right? Because at the end of the day, when people have a clean environment, they have a better quality of life. One of the first projects that I was very interested in and participated globally was the Life Straw project or water project, which was called Spring of Hope and Replenish. And I think it's an incorporated business that we provided life straws, literally filtering life straws for people in Kenya to drink muddy water that turns actually clean by the time it comes through the straw. And I mean, water is life, Adi. And so that's important. And the most impressive thing globally, I think that we as Rotarians should be most proud of, is the aspect of eradicating polio. We are this far away from eradicating polio, right? And so when you just think about this from an aspect of service locally, just in your backyard, statewide, nationally or internationally, Rotary is really one of those entities where you can do as much as you want or as little as you want, right? You might be just enamored with one aspect of that fourth silo, nonprofit that I'm talking about, or you can spread your wings in anything. I think the last component to your question that I want to tell the Rotarians, there are no bad ideas. The only bad ideas that you have as a Rotarian, if you don't share your idea that you may have, that would benefit a community. Doesn't matter whether it's local, nationally, or internationally. Just bring the idea to the table, you know. And as Rotarians, we kind of all have the same DNA, you know. We kind of make a choice. You have 2 choices in life. You can either sit at the table or be on the menu. Pick one. Choice is yours. I like to sit at the table, right? I like to sit at the table and drive the conversation and drive the business and move in the right direction.
Yeah. So you already sort of touched on this, but we just formally answer it. When did you join Rotary, and what made you decide to join?
You know, my sponsor is Charles Felix, and when he was president for the Rotary Club here in Fort Lauderdale, he educated me on the financial whereabouts, how actually this elephant of Rotary operates from a fiscal responsibility. And I'm telling you, you will not learn that in 1 hour. You will literally have to sink your teeth into it to just wrap your arms around it. And so I joined on March 1st, 2011. And it was shortly after I started working at this hotel in October of 2010 and being a fly on the wall for many of the Rotary luncheons, and eventually I licked blood and I said, like, this is what I want to do. And you know, there's many reasons why I wanted to join Rotary. Number one, when I surveyed the room, right, and it was very important for me to rub elbows with folks that are like-minded, right? I enjoyed that our Rotary Club was very diverse in the aspect of the business diversity. And I sensed also then that we started to take the lead on making our club more diverse as well. And so when I started seeing more women coming to our club, I think that was important, right? Because strength lies in diversity. But when I saw the business acumen and mindset of these different industries that are all sitting at the same table and really working towards a common goal, I think was just amazing to me. I also liked the fact that when you had your luncheons, right, when you sat at the luncheon, these table conversations took place, and we started discussing community needs and how important it is to find and develop creative ways in closing the gap on our community needs that we had. And you know, it's sometimes it's the most unexpected people that will step up to the plate and said, I'm passionate about this as a Rotarian, I want to take the lead. And I sometimes go like, where did you come from? I mean, this is amazing, right? Because you never know what really interests somebody. It was important for me because honestly, Rotary means business. And you meet business people. For some reason, we don't ask for each other's business, but boy, do we refer business to each other. And that was just amazing for me to see, right? Because here are people that are pouring their heart out into service, and as a thank you, you wanna help them with their business naturally, right? So I've referred much business to fellow Rotarians as a first referral because these are like-minded people that work for the better of the community, and I love that. You know, the other reason what was important to me is you never stop learning, and I needed to grow as a leader, right? And I needed to become a better leader. Without question, Rotary taught me to become a better leader, not only in the community, but Adi, also for my business here. That was amazing for me, right? Because it helped me to fine-tune what my mentor gave me as a gift, you know, this servant leadership ideology in a company, and it fit perfect in this family-owned and operated business, and it helped me to literally fine-tune my skill set as a professional. I'm a travel dude. I love traveling, folks. Rotarians, I know you are all traveling.
We're all travel people.
You won't believe there are a few clubs out in this world. So you won't believe how many Rotarians you actually meet internationally. And you won't believe how like-minded they all are. I think if we do a personality survey or a predictive index survey, right, we probably all have certain ingredients that are very similar that make us so like-minded, right? And I think that was important for me to get local connections, to get global connections, and really see how that is working out. Another item that was important to me was inspiring the next generation, right? Because I was given a gift as a young whippersnapper when I came fresh out of college at 25 years old, and I was taken under the wings of a Rotarian, a Vietnam vet, right? And you have to pay it forward, right? This paying forward that was given to me as a gift, I have to pay forward, right? And a lot of times when I introduce myself, I don't introduce myself as a hotelier. I introduce myself as a mentor, you know, and I just here to wanting to help other people to get better. And I think if we fixate ourselves in helping the folks that are coming behind us. You know, for me, my legacy is kind of behind me already. I'm kind of at the tail end of my journey, but there are some future leaders behind me, right? That I think that will be inspirational and will really, really do a great job in taking service above self to the next level. So that's kind of what made me tick for Rotary.
And what is one thing that you'd want to tell those thinking of joining Rotary International?
Okay, why did you have to give me a difficult question? Can you give me an easy question? One thing.
I know you've already like shared so much. Like Rotary is one of those few organizations where you can actually go and you get mentored while you're doing service projects and while you're giving back to the community, or you get to mentor the next generation. There's a lot that you've poured in, but if you had to just give like one final thing, what would it be?
Yeah, be easy. It's numbers I'm giving you: 46,000 and 1.2 million. That's my reason why. Because fellow Rotarians, it is our obligation to grow Rotary International from the 46,000 clubs that we have in the world. And I think the 1.2 million members, I think it's higher even now, it's 1.4 million, I might be wrong. But if you just think about that, right, growing the strength of Rotary and really giving service to your community, to your city, to your county, to your state, to your nation, to your world. I think the one reason is to grow this kind of movement, because it is a movement, folks. It is something that is unstoppable. We are an A-rated club, right? We are an organization as Rotary International. I think our mission, our vision needs to be to bring more of these like-minded folks to Rotary that want to make a difference in community, build community, and at the end of the day, leave a better world. And if we can find more Rotarians out there and grow our various clubs and add new clubs out there and grow our membership, I think if there's one reason, that should be the driving vision that we all should have in leaving a legacy behind and in leaving a better club behind. So maybe that's my answer.
Thank you, Heiko. I appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know, Heiko is a great person to call if you are like a moral dilemma. You're like, how the heck do I take all of this complexity and organize it into a clear plan of action within 20 minutes? No pressure. Heiko is one of those Rotary mentors that is, I have called on it at least once. But thank you so much.
Adi, that's very nice of you to say, but fellow Rotarians, I want you to look at Adi. Adi is a brand genius. And I think she is going to take the Rotary brand in our area and hopefully then in the district and hopefully then even to a larger portion, to new levels. Because at the end of the day, we as Rotarians always had the difficulty to tell the story. What is our elevator pitch, right? Or how do we define the brand? Or how do we talk about the brand? And you get somebody that has transformed Fortune 500 companies like Adi. You know, we are blessed to have her and see how she's going to help us and educate us to become better storytellers. Because at the end of the day, folks want to hear a great story that makes them feel good and takes them into the next aspect of their journey, that they may want to join Rotary because they say, you know what, these are the type of people that I want to be part of. And so, Adi, I want to thank you for being such a genius when it comes to putting that together. I saw your presentation, and you literally gave me goosebumps when you did that presentation. And we are blessed. We are just blessed to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everybody who tuned in, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you, Heiko, for taking the time to share all of that with us. You give us a lot of content, a lot of things for people to listen to, dive into, sink their teeth into. I look forward to see you all back on our next episode. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Let's see.